Okay, friends, Father Frank here again. Sorry for that little technical interruption, but as I was saying, we're delighted that the president is back in the White House, and we are glad to be back with you after just a little technical glitch with our system. I wanted to share with you a letter, and we're going to show it on the screen, that is from the National Latino Peace Officers Association Advocacy, just issued October 3rd, endorsing President Trump. Now, he's gotten the endorsement of all law enforcement organizations around the country, groups that have never made endorsements before. He asked Joe Biden during the debate which law enforcement groups had endorsed him, and Biden couldn't give an answer to that. But let me read this letter from these Latino peace officers. The National Board of the National Latino Peace Officers Association Advocacy, on behalf of its member charters, has chosen to endorse your candidacy for re-election for President of the United States. The NLPOA Advocacy is a law enforcement organization made up of federal, state, and local law enforcement officers. The NLPOA Advocacy supports you because of your fierce and unwavering support for the law enforcement community. In these difficult times for our profession and the repeated calls to defund us, you have continued to have our backs and voice your approval of the men and women of law enforcement. The NLPOAA looks forward to working with you in the future on issues regarding law enforcement, immigration, and issues concerning the Latino community. We invite our members and friends to support Donald J. Trump for re-election as President of the United States. Congratulations on your endorsement from the National Latino Peace Officers Association Advocacy. So what a beautiful letter, what a nice reminder, brothers and sisters, of one of the key issues in this election. This is a choice between law and order and mob rule and chaos. And you know, it seems to be, morally speaking, that a party that embraces tearing babies apart in the womb and calls it reproductive choice instead of the violence that it is would be the same party that looks at a riot and calls it a peaceful protest. Doesn't that make sense to you? Or that looks at terrorism in the world or terrorist attacks on our country and can't even say the name of what it is, namely radical Islamic terrorism. Obama could never name it. President Trump names it very easily. The Democrats why are they not capable? Why are they not capable of seeing evil where evil is, naming it, calling it out, and dealing with it? They can't. Unfortunately, they just can't. Okay, so I want to talk to you tonight about the Platinum Plan. Let's go to the board here. And if you follow the president closely and the different things that he is accomplishing and announcing and preparing for the second term, the Platinum Plan is one of them. See, the president and his campaign and his party, they're not conducting this election simply by making every reason that you should vote for President Trump a criticism of Joe Biden. They're doing the work of governing the country and helping the different communities that we live among. They're doing the work. And that becomes the reason. It's the accomplishments. I keep waiting for someone on the other side, and maybe one of the people that comes here, there's always a handful of them that come here that are supporters of Biden because, Biden isn't having any events like this anyway, so they're bored, so they come and they listen to, they listen to us or come here to bother us. But the point is that they don't give us reasons to support Biden. They only come up with criticisms of Trump. Have you ever noticed that? And that's an important thing to keep in mind and challenge people when you're talking to them. But we're talking about the Platinum Plan here for the black community. And let me just answer one of these questions here now. What is the website for Team Trump, a news site, while he cannot be out for rallies? Okay, that's a very good question. There's a number of places you can go. Team Trump is actually the address of the, that's a Twitter and Instagram. And those are good to follow. If you're on Twitter and Instagram, follow at Team Trump. And then just donaldjtrump.com. You'll be able to see all the events there. If you go there, you'll see a tab for events, or you can just put /events. And you'll see there's online events. You know, the president is, and the vice president, of course, is out there on the road. The president will be back out there very soon. But a lot of virtual events and various people coming along and leading events. Sometimes I'm privileged to lead some of them. So Team Trump, Twitter and Instagram, and then donaldjtrump.com events. Thank you for asking that question. Okay? So, the Platinum Plan. You know, he loves the black community. And many of you are watching on Alveda King's channels. Alveda King is the niece of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I've known her since 1999. She's been working with us here at Priests for Life since, the last 15 years or so. And, she has appeared with the president on various occasions. She and I have been together with the president on various occasions. And she is very, very vocal and grateful for what he has done for the black community. What he has already done is more than President Obama did. It is increasing his numbers of favorability within the black community. It includes such things as the First Step Act. See, now the Platinum Plan is going to build on all of this, but let me just give you a little bit of the background. You're familiar with the First Step Act? This is about prison reform. And prison reform in two basic ways, okay? One of them has to do with sentencing, and the other has to do with the actual prison reform in the prisons and making things easier for making it easier for them to get out of prison and reintegrate into the community. Very, very common sense reforms. He's actually got it done. See, that's the thing. There's a lot of things that President Trump has accomplished that it's not that he was the first one to think about all of these things, although some of them he was the first one to think about. But a lot of his accomplishments are things that have been thought about, talked about, planned for, promised, attempted in the past, and they never succeeded. Past presidents, past administrations, for whatever reason, didn't succeed. Now I've been with Alveda King at the, on Martin Luther King Jr. holiday in January every year, on the feast of his birthday. The 15th is his birthday, and then the national holiday is a Monday close to the 15th. She and I have been together at Ebenezer Baptist Church, where he preached, and they're in Atlanta, and 6-hour 5-hour ceremony. Beautiful ceremony. I've spoken at it. I've done readings at it. And you always hear there this question of the prisons, and too many young African American men are disproportionately there in prison, and this is bad, and we have to continue the dream of Martin Luther King Jr. and we have to get the black community better served by our prison system. So the First Step Act, this is not just words. This is not just words. This is indeed reform. Sentencing that allows these prisoners, under the right conditions, to get out of prison sooner. Instead of being trapped by mandatory minimums, it has a safety valve, as it's called, to help them get shorter sentencing terms. Judges immediately began doing this once this went into effect and made more prisoners eligible for those shorter sentences. Okay? Reform also within the prisons, more humane conditions and circumstances within the prison. More emphasis on rehabilitating rather than punishing. And also, here was one of the things that struck me the most about this First Step Act. It makes so much sense. a provision that when somebody does have to spend some time in prison, that they're put into a prison closer to where their family is, so that when eventually they come out, hopefully not longer than is absolutely necessary, integration back into a productive life where they have a support system is easier. Okay. Chris, mail@priestsforlife.org. Chris, I need you to email me right away. mail@priestsforlife.org. Okay, so Alveda makes it very, very clear. This is a man who has helped the African American community, not just by the First Step Act having to do with prison reform, but also the HB, Historically Black Colleges and Universities, the HBCUs. He made funding for these particular universities permanent. He made it, and he did it. He brought the whole funding system for these historically black colleges and universities closer to the administration and on a more firm basis. Then, of course, if you listen to what the president says, the lowest unemployment rates he brought pre-pandemic, and we're getting back there very quickly, lowest unemployment rates for African Americans, as well as for all the other segments of the population too. You just look at the numbers, the Latino community, Asian Americans, women, you look at the different demographics, and he brought unemployment to record low levels. And when we talk about the strongest economy, I want to point something out here that, of course, the African American community knows from experience under this president. It's not only the strongest economy, it's the most inclusive economy. Inasmuch as the benefits brought into the economy of higher wages, lower taxes, less regulation, growth, more growth in businesses, higher median income. This most inclusive economy means that the minority communities are benefiting from that. Now, Roseanne is asking an interesting question. How on earth, Roseanne, is this not good stuff to talk about? Would you please? We can all wait. We could let you answer. Roseanne Salkowski. This is a strange comment that you're making. Father, are you running for office or serving our Lord? First of all, do you mean to tell me that the disciples of our Lord who are running for office and serving in office have to choose between serving him and running for office? Please don't insult our good Christian public officials, our good Christian lawmakers and whatnot. You know what Scripture says in the 13th chapter of the letter of Paul to the Romans, that those who serve in government office are ministers of God. It's not just us who wear these collars that are ministers of God. Those who are serving, they're protecting you, Roseanne, they're protecting you. They're protecting our right to talk to each other now. They're protecting our children. They're securing our nation and our neighborhoods, unless they're Democrats. People who are in public office are ministers of God. So first of all, there's no contradiction between running for public office and serving the Lord. Do you want God haters serving you in public office, or do you want followers of God? So I don't understand what you're saying from that point of view. But secondly, from what I'm saying, hey, listen, if we're talking about ways to help the black community, if we say that we're helping the black community, somehow we're offending God. If we are not talking about this and not doing anything about it, somehow let's go ahead and say it, racist. So, can't win, right? Can't win. You got blamed both ways. Let's see, Lyle is asking, can you put a link on your channel where to find official documents about the promises the president did? It's hard to debunk haters without legal proof. Lyle, I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for asking that important question, because I do. Okay, so you understand all these points. I do point that out frequently, and thank you for the reminder. I'll point it out again right now. I'm going to give you a simple website. I'm going to give you two websites. One of them is mine, but the one that the President's administration puts up is Promises Kept. PromisesKept.com. And you can find there so many accomplishments over these 4 years, and the documentation, the links, the original sources, PromisesKept.com. My website, one of my websites, ProLifePresident.com, is a website where you will see, likewise, many of the lists of his accomplishments and the links to the documentation that backs those promises up. So that's what thank you for asking that question. So let's get into this now. The President has done this and more for the black community, and we celebrate that. Again, Alveda King, listen, she knows something about racism. She knows something about what's good and what isn't for the black community. She's part of the family of Martin Luther King Jr., and she loves the President. In fact, she's coming out with a book. She's coming out with a book called Why Trump? And I was privileged to write the foreword to it. Alveda King. Coming out next week. We'll be talking with Alveda on these programs very soon about the book, and I hope you get it and read it before the election. You'll like it. All right, the Platinum Plan. So the President has said we're going to build in a second term on the progress that we made for the black community in the first term. We achieved historic employment levels. The Platinum Plan starts by summarizing some of these things. We increased access to capital for new businesses. President Trump has been committed to ensuring that all black Americans can achieve the American dream. Security. He signed into law, as we mentioned here, the First Step Act, bringing common sense criminal reform to the American people for the first time in decades, making sure our streets and communities are safer for families and business owners. Now, prosperity, number 3, the permanent funding, long-term funding to the historically black colleges and universities. And then fairness, opportunity zones. Now, I don't know how much you're familiar with opportunity zones, but this is something, together with Senator Tim Scott there in South Carolina, the President has made possible. And what this means is that investors are able to invest in distressed areas so that they have more of a chance to grow and to flourish. And this is one of the ways that people can rally around these communities and help them to achieve the American dream. It's a fantastic step forward. Some of the things now contained in this Platinum Plan. 3 million new jobs will be coming for the black community. So jobs. 3 million new jobs. New black-owned businesses. 500,000 black-owned businesses this plan will make possible. More capital in black communities, increasing it by $500 billion, okay? $500 billion of investment into capital in black communities. Safer urban neighborhoods with the highest policing standards, so safety in the neighborhoods. Committed to working on a Second Step Act. So we did the First Step Act, then the prisons will continue to be reformed under the Second Step Act. Better education and job training opportunities. Black churches, giving black churches the ability to compete for federal resources for their communities. The black community loves its churches. I've had the privilege of preaching in some of them. They love their churches. Their lives are very much integrated with their churches, and it's something that this plan will help as well. Better and tailored health care to address historic disparities. Protecting American jobs. Immigration policy that protects American jobs. Home ownership opportunities that enhance financial literacy in the black community. Home ownership. And onshoring manufacturing to advance jobs and opportunities for black-owned businesses. Onshoring manufacturing. These are just some, very broad stroke way, obviously. I'm just sort of giving you like the titles in a table of contents to some of the things involved in the Platinum Plan, as it's called. Alveda was at the event with the president recently in which he first announced this just a couple of weeks ago. When you get down into the details of this, let me read, I got a list here of some of the deeper details as we go deeper into this table of contents here. Price transparency. Sometimes I was answering some emails today, and one person was, so ignorantly say, oh, the president is a liar. Maybe that's something that you're doing right in the process of saying that. But what in the world are you talking about? You look at the policies he's implementing, it goes right against the whole culture of lying. Price transparency. Why did he sign price transparency? Price transparency. It's going to kick in January. And he jokes, he says, well, I better be elected president, otherwise the other guy's going to take the credit for something that's going to start to kick in January, but it's something I accomplished. Price transparency means exactly what it sounds like. That you get to see ahead of time. You don't get surprised by billing, especially in the arena of medical care or drugs, prescription drugs, or he wants transparency. Doesn't want you to be hit with a bill that you didn't know. Be transparent. It shouldn't be opaque. It shouldn't be hidden. It shouldn't be by surprise that all of a sudden we realize we've got to pay so much money probably that we don't have. So he's in favor of price transparency. He has already authorized it. And this is important. This is good. This is moral. Moral. It's amazing how the critics of the president like to try to take the moral high ground. I got news for them. You got no moral high ground whatsoever. None whatsoever. See, because friends, I don't know if you find this when people talk to you about the president, but they're never talking about things like this. How many people that support Biden are talking about things like this at this level of detail? How many people that you talk to that criticize the president know about these things in this level of detail? Have they ever even heard about these things? Ask them about price transparency the next time you talk to them. Some of what the Platinum Plan will do, too, is give investments into the causes and cures of certain diseases that disproportionately affect the black community. For example, causes and cures of kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, sickle cell anemia, maternal mortality, and so forth. Here's another thing. Alveda and I have always celebrated every year, and we have promoted Juneteenth. It's June 19th. You know Juneteenth. It's the black holiday on June 19th, celebrating the announcement to the slaves that they were free. This is something that we at Priests for Life, because we have had Alveda on our teams for the last 15 years, have been celebrating every year. And we've always felt that, this really deserves more attention. Look at what the president put into here. Making Juneteenth a new national holiday. I mean, I'll tell you what, I don't know about you. I have a lot of interaction with the black community. They're smiling about that one. This is one of their holidays. They're making it a national holiday. Now, prosecute the KKK. Ask Joe Biden about the KKK. He had a great relationship. He was mentored by, one of the KKK racists in the United States Senate, Senator Byrd. Ask Biden about that. He knows a lot about the KKK. He doesn't know too much about Antifa, however. He knows about the KKK. President Trump wants to prosecute the KKK and Antifa as terrorist organizations, which is exactly what they are, and make lynching a national hate crime. So, KKK, Antifa, prosecute them as terrorist organizations. And make lynching a national hate crime. I mean, what's the reaction to this? It's like it's about time, right? It's about time. You know what I think about when I look at all the accomplishments of the president? You know what goes through my mind? Where was everybody else all this time? I mean, where was everybody else all this time? Did nobody else did this? Nobody else thinks about these things? He's got one of the most creative administrations. And of course, one of the reasons is he has pulled together one of the greatest teams in presidential history. But Antifa, the reason I say Joe Biden doesn't know anything about Antifa is that he made one of the stupidest comments I've ever heard in a presidential debate, or anywhere else for that matter. The other night, he said, "Oh, Antifa, well, yeah, that's just an idea." What? What kind of planet is this man living on? It's scary to think that anybody would want that man as a leader. They can't name radical Islamic terrorism as the problem. They can't distinguish between a peaceful protest and a riot where windows are being smashed, cars and buildings are being burned, and people are being injured and killed. They can't tell the difference between reproductive rights and the violent decapitation and dismemberment of a baby in the womb by abortion. And now he calls Antifa an idea? An idea? And some people want him heading up the nation? They got to be nuts. They've got to be nuts. Now maybe they don't know about this. And that's, of course, why we need to, be talking about this and spreading the idea. Maybe these Biden supporters, maybe these go vote blue people didn't hear about this, that he said this. So we can give them the benefit of the doubt. But let's make sure they know. So you realize you're gonna put as the commander-in-chief. Commander-in-chief. If you're going to be the commander-in-chief of the most powerful nation in the world, don't you think that you need to be able to properly identify an enemy? Can you imagine a general in battle or a commander-in-chief who needs to protect us from an enemy, needs to make the ultimate decision in very important national security matters, and when he's told by his generals, when he's told by his intelligence agencies, sir, we have this problem, we have this enemy that we have to neutralize, whoever that enemy might be, don't worry, that's just an idea. Friends, you can't have a commander like that. A commander has got to be able to see the enemy. A commander has got to be able to know the enemy. A commander has got to be able to tell the difference between good and evil. Otherwise, how's he going to protect you from the evil? Let's go back to the chair here. So, listen, I just wanted to give a little bit to you tonight about this this Platinum Plan, because I tell you what, those of us that are helping the Trump campaign, and I get to see right up close what's going on every day with the campaign. And I've put all my other activities aside until this election. I'm just giving every moment, every hour to this. And I hope all of you are giving as much time as you are able to, as your circumstances permit. Give your extra time to this election, and it's got to get down to contacting the voters. That's the name of the game right now. The voting has begun already. So contacting the voters, getting right down to business. And voting has been going on for a month already. So a lot of people have cast their votes. So now it's time to be talking to the voters. Gather the people, gather the low-hanging fruit, as we say. Gather the people that are close to you, that trust you, that already believe like you believe, and make sure they're getting out there to vote. But we need to know about some of these things. Even for those of us that are immersed in this all the time, it's hard to keep up with all these initiatives. It's hard to keep up with all these accomplishments. It's hard to keep up with all these great new plans. It's wonderful. President Trump is inspiring. And of course, those that, like some of you are saying, if they only listen to the fake news, MSDNC, as the president calls it, I feel sorry for them because they're not getting the benefit of even knowing these. Do they even know these things? The next time you talk with a Biden supporter, say, the guy who said, you don't vote for me, you ain't black. If that by itself is a racist statement. You're going to tell blacks how they should think. You don't vote for me, you ain't black. What the heck is wrong with you? Ask them if they know about the Platinum Plan. See how much they can tell you about the Platinum Plan. See how much they can tell you about what President Trump already did for the black community. See what they know about the First Step Act. See what they know about the historically black colleges and universities. See what they know about the most inclusive economy that we have ever had. Well, I thank you I see the comments coming in. Thank you, friends, for all your encouraging words. And as Colin says, November 3rd, let's roll. Let's roll. It's that important. It's protecting our nation. What's at stake here, brothers and sisters, in this election, let me just put it this way, is exactly as important and as consequential as what was at stake in the American Revolution. No exaggeration to say that. We are engaged now in the battle, the same battle that our founding fathers were engaged in. Let's see Julie's comments. Thank you, Julie. She says, I've heard a few other priests talk the straight talk during this election time, and it's very refreshing to hear you cover the whole kit and caboodle. Well, we've only just begun. We're on every day, every morning, every night, sometimes come on in the afternoon. We got lots of lots more ground to cover, between now and the 3rd of November. Dale is asking where you can find the Platinum Plan. You can just Google it. You'll see it there. You might want to put whitehouse.gov Platinum Plan inside of the Google search, and you'll find it'll come out. It's a PDF document. Just the outline of it is just 2 pages. The ones that I've been referring to here, the basic outline of it is 2 pages, and of course we can dig deeper, but it's there online already. So, well, thanks, friends. It's really great to chat with you. Again, very encouraging to get your. Somebody put the link up there too. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for doing that. Tom's got the link to it right up there. And friends, you know, his support is growing among the black community. I think it's going to be an historic amount of support in this election from our black brothers and sisters. And you know, if you're on Twitter and Instagram, you see some fabulous short videos by various black supporters of Trump. Of course, there's the Black Voices for Trump. If you are black yourselves, if you are supporters of Trump and you are in the black community, go to, remember I put up there DonaldJTrump.com earlier, and if you go there, you'll see the section called Coalitions. There's coalitions there, and one of them is Black Voices for Trump. And Alveda, of course, is helping to lead and encourage those folks, and I am too. But Black Voices for Trump is one of the coalitions, and you can join it. In fact, I want to encourage all of you to go. Let's go back up here for a second. I want to encourage all of you to go to DonaldJTrump.com. Do it as soon as we finish this broadcast, if you have a moment. /coalitions. Or if you go to the page, you'll see the button on the top, coalitions. Coalitions. Why? Because there's various different coalitions covering various different demographics, and you can join as many of them as you want. So there's Women for Trump, Moms for Trump. There's Latinos for Trump, Catholics for Trump, Black Voices for Trump, pro-life voices for Trump. There are workers for Trump, and farmers for Trump, and cops for Trump, and various ethnic groups and communities, evangelicals for Trump. Check it out. There's a whole bunch of them. And you'll fit in at least one of them, if not more. And I think you're going to love it, because then you sign up, you either text the indicated word to 88022. Of course, you can just text Trump to 88022. But by texting, then you'll start getting text messages that'll keep you right up to date about the campaign. And this is where you, brothers and sisters, can talk to like-minded people. Look at the coalitions and think of yourself, but think also of your like-minded friends, and then recommend to them the coalition. You look at the coalition and say, okay, do I know some Catholics? Do I know some moms who are big Trump supporters? Do I know, you'll see there, for example, Greek Voices for Trump. Do we know some Greek brothers and sisters who we might want to recommend to them to join the coalition? So you join it by texting. Each coalition has its word that you text to 88022, and they each have a microsite. You'll see a link to a little website, and it's all there at DonaldJTrump.com/coalitions. Really, you know what we'll do one of these evenings? We'll go to the page and we'll go through the coalitions one by one. I really want to delve into it with you in depth. Maybe we'll do that later this week, but you, obviously, you can do it right away. And Arlene has a great idea. Can I start a coalition of pilots for Trump? Arlene, I'm not Arlene, Ariel. Are you a pilot? Because I love pilots, let me tell you, because I fly around so much. Of course, with the pandemic, I haven't been flying so much, but since I started heading up Priests for Life in 1993, let me tell you, I've taken about 4 or 5 flights a week. So pilots are a very big part of my life and have been a very big part of my ministry, and I'm very grateful to them. And, I think that it's really great to, there might be one, I'm not sure, but you can certainly sign up to DonaldJTrump.com, and you can certainly put that idea in there. And somebody was asking how much money I get for doing these Trump commercials. Carrie, are you asking that sincerely? You want a sincere answer, or do you want me to be as sarcastic as you are? Because, I have a bad side to me. I can be as sarcastic as you are. Zero. As a matter of fact, for my entire ministry, for my entire work, you wouldn't believe what my annual salary is. You wouldn't believe it. And I'm not complaining. But that, when I say I'm on the road 4 or 5 trips a week and in my normal activity, well, groups are bringing me out there to do this work, to connect with places, to say masses, to do events and whatnot. So I'm not spending I'm not spending anything. You know what the biggest expense that I have, I guess one of the biggest weaknesses is, it's nothing wrong with it. I love seafood. Lobster, crab, lobsters and crabs. I bet a lot of you out there like that too. Yeah, this is not about making money. It is oblitas, isn't it? Disrespectful. This is a lot of silly things are said. Yeah, about $9,000 a year if you check my salary. It's about $9,000 a year. But like Kathy is saying, the work itself is priceless. I'm giving my life for this. Who was it that asked that question again? Let's go back up there. This is interesting. I like to see the kind of people that come on. Like I say, some of these folks stumble on here because Biden's not doing anything. It's the most low energy, low enthusiasm. I don't think he even wants to be president. Honest to God, I've thought that for years. I don't think the guy even wants it. He campaigns as if he's, I don't know what the heck is wrong with him. Cheryl says, my brother is a pilot. I know would be honored to have you as a passenger. Hey, let's arrange it. Once we get back on flying again and everything, I'd like to know tell me, you could contact me separately at mail@priestsforlife.org. Let me know what airline he's with, and we'll see if we can hook up. Yeah, but it's really, this is, you wouldn't ask the founding fathers how much were they making in order to found this country. Would you ask them a question, whoever that wise crack person was earlier on that said that? Would you ask our founding fathers? Now, it's not that I'm comparing myself to the founding fathers. I'm comparing the work that's in front of us with the work that they faced. I'm comparing the challenge in front of us with the challenge that was in front of them. Would you ask them? Hey, you guys are being paid for revolting against the king, aren't you? Brothers and sisters, this comes from the depths of our humanity. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Those of you that are supporting us, you know this. This comes from the depths of our humanity. We're fighting tyranny. John Paul II said that the government that authorizes the killing of the babies by abortion has become a tyrant state. A tyrant state. And the Democrats are, they want globalism. They don't want in the United States of America. That's why they don't care about the border. They don't care about the border because they don't care about the nation. They don't care about freedom of religion because they don't care about the nation. They don't care about cutting regulations because they don't care about helping businesses to have some breathing space to grow and thrive. They just want to tax you. They don't want you to flourish. They want to control, like they control a plantation. These Democrats have got to be put out of power completely. They have become so toxic to America, so utterly toxic. It really is terrible. Karen is pointing out, I do not think Biden wants to be president. U.S. history for a second-term president is in there percentage-wise in favor to win the election. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It really is. And, I thank you I see a lot of great comments here. Thank you very much, and we appreciate it. So, blessings, friends. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look upon you with kindness and grant you his peace. And may Almighty God bless you and your families in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Really healthy audience tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Father Frank Pavone here with Priests for Life.
Hello, I'm Evangelist Alveda King. Day by day, my work with Priest for Life and Father Frank Pavone provides me with many opportunities to speak up for the unborn, whether on television and radio or in conferences with pastors or with government leaders. In order to accomplish all this work, we rely on the donations of individuals like you who believe in this cause and want to help us save lives. May I ask you to support us generously? Go today to prolifegift.org and give as generous a gift as you can. I appreciate it personally and will pray for you each day.
I think we have Richard Lee, we have Jim Garlow, and we have Father Frank Pavone. Someplace they were in the audience, so I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Follow him, Father Frank Pavone, Fr. Frank Pavone, on Twitter. He is the National Director of Priests for Life. Please go to priestsforlife.org.